So, Orford Mining, I'm the president and CEO of the company. Michelle Sorrentino is in the audience here with us as well. She's our VP of Exploration. We've always been a gold and critical minerals explorer. We called it nickel back then, but that's how the company was started. We've added lithium to our list of things we're looking for, and I'll explain why we did that as we move through the presentation. And I'll make some forward-looking statements, have you read that at your leisure. So 4 key sort of projects in our company, 1,800 square kilometers of land that we own, all in Quebec. First of all, the Quebec Gold Project, 402 square kilometers of land, 100% ours. Last year we drilled 2,700 meters on that project, discovered a brand new quartz vein system. We've got some really good ideas on generative targets for this year, and we'll go through those. West Raglan, 713 square kilometer package of land just south of the Quebec project. Wyloo Metals is earning into that project. They have earned up to 51% so far, and they've made the option to go to 70. And we've got some exciting things happening there. We discovered some new nickel sulfides this past year. And Nunavik Lithium, brand new project, 430 square kilometers. This basically sits all around our 2 projects in Nunavik. And then Jetel, the regional project we have there, we have 4 projects. We're currently drilling the Jetel Eagle project. Sits right next door to the Agnico Eagle gold mine, which was their gold mining start, the Eagle Tellbell. So we're drilling that right now. We just announced the initial results from the first 2 holes, 4.1 grams over 14.6 meters. And we'll walk through that quickly. I think I've gone through this already, so we'll move on here. Company has a market cap around $30 million right now. You can see we had a big run up recently, and that's because we went and staked some claims for lithium. Good share of different shareholders in the company. Alamos Gold is a 24.7% shareholder. They came in for Quebec. They love that project, and they're very supportive. Great management team. I mentioned Michelle. Alger St. Jean is also part of our geological team. And we all have a lot of experience both in gold and nickel in the Abitibi and Quebec and Ontario. Great board. John McCluskey joined our board recently. He's the CEO of Alamos Gold, provides a lot of experience and support on our board, and a number of other very well-experienced people. I'll have you read that when you have time. So Quebec, we're sitting up in Nunavik, so we're in the Arctic portion of Quebec. We're about 70 kilometers to the west of the Raglan nickel mine, so we're in an area where mining is already present. Quebec is a gold project, like I mentioned, 100% ours. It's a brand new gold district. We spent about 40 weeks on the ground, and no one spent any time before us, so there was no gold exploration in this area before us. We believe we've discovered a camp-scale potential project with lots of potential for more than one deposit. The reason we got excited is on this map. You can see across the project over 40 kilometers end to end. We got grades up to 648 grams, 130 grams, 30 grams, all across the project. This is unusual to find this many high-grade surface showings across one project, and this is why we got excited and why we continue to be excited, and we know we're onto something very special here. And this is why our shareholder Alamos came into the company. We have done some drilling, and we've got gold in almost all our drill holes. We haven't had that barn burner yet, but we've got some good grades up to 8 grams, up to 10 grams. So we're getting some good numbers. We're still looking for that one big kick that will explain some of the very high-grade boulder trains. This is the material we're looking for. This is one, you can see the guys in the pit here, very angular boulders. We know they haven't gone very far. This one grades around 50 grams. But we have a mineral train at the Anik Trend here that's about 3.7 kilometers long. We used to believe it came from a point source. New glacial interpretation by one of the best glacial mines in the country has pointed us towards very close to each boulder. There's likely a structure. They think that there's many more sources than just one, and so that's what we'll be targeting in this coming year. This past year, we discovered a new quartz carbonate system at the southern end of that boulder system, so there's definitely a mineralization at the south end, but we don't believe that's the source of the boulder train. We can see some northeast trending structures at the north end of the train that we believe are likely the sources of some of those very high-grade boulders, the 640s and above. So we're going to use a RAB drill this coming year and drill probably between 40 and 50 targets. This will be our biggest target drilling year ever. Typically we drill between 10 and 15 drill holes, diamond drill holes. We believe a RAB drill will give us much more prospectivity generation by drilling more targets over the year. Just a quick few slides here to show you the prospectivity across the property. This one shows gold and till in the west or the eastern portion of the property. And then here you can see the entire property, so several areas of very high grade numbers. And then here the boulder trains in several places across the property. So this property has a lot going on. It's very large, 400 square kilometers of land, and it's early days, 40 weeks on the ground so far. So lots to do here. Moving down to the Abitibi, still on gold. We're in the Jetel region, basically in the center of the Abitibi, right next to where Agnico Eagle Tellbell mine produced over 1 million ounces of gold, and just to the east of the Casa Berardi mine that's well over 3 million ounces of gold. The property we're currently drilling is the Jetel Eagle project. We're drilling in the center of it at the South Gold Zone. We believe this zone has the potential to have low-grade, near-surface mineralization that is open pittable, and that's what we're going for right now. Last year we drilled 3 holes into it, intersected over 20 meters in all the holes with thick mineralization that was lower grade, between 1 and 2 grams, and we think we can continue to identify that. This year we're trying to identify over a 400-meter strike length and confirm that continuity, and also some parallel zones into the hanging wall. We have intersected, like I mentioned earlier, in 2 holes, hole 4 and hole 5. We released those results. We hit 4.1 grams per ton over 14.6 meters in hole number 4, and a good grade in hole number 1 as well. Sorry, hole number 3 as well. So we're hitting good stuff here. The mineralization's there, and we should have the rest of the results out in the coming weeks. We're still drilling right now. We've drilled 14 holes. We're about to start our 15th, or we did this morning actually, and we have a couple more holes to drill, and then we'll be done that program for this year. So probably by the end of March we'll have those results. So moving on to the critical minerals. I'm not going to go through all the macro slides here, just to say that we believe that the electrical vehicle battery world will continue to push both nickel and lithium prices and cobalt prices higher. No matter what kind of batteries are being used, different amounts of those metals are going to be used. I'm going to skip over these, don't have time for that. So on the lithium side, we staked 430 square kilometers. That's about 7 times the size of the Isle of Manhattan, so that's quite a large chunk of ground. Brings our total in the Nunavik region to about 1,544, including our nickel and gold properties there. We did this based on mapped pegmatites by the government, lake bottom sediment samples by the government that were in the 90th percentile for lithium and cesium, rubidium, and other elements that make sense. Anomalous grab samples in lithium, as well as being close to big geological boundaries, which seems to be a key for having pegmatites that are lithium bearing. So we staked these properties using those different reasonings. And this area hasn't been mapped very well. There's been no exploration for anything on these properties before. This is very virgin ground. The only thing we had to go on was the government data. We were going to wait until next year. We had started looking at this about 6 months ago. We were going to go in and do some ground, truthing ourselves before we stake ground. But the way the world's going on the lithium side, we decided it was better to take the eyes out of the thing before other people got in there. So we've done that in just a closer view there. One thing actually I'm going to go back here a minute, sorry. You can see that this area already is a very big critical minerals area. You can see the 2 nickel mines, the Raglan mine and the Nunavik nickel mine. We're 70 to 100 kilometers from that port that they use to put out their concentrates. They have an all-season road, an all-season port facility. They ship concentrates 12 months a year out of that port facility. They use an icebreaker in the winter to keep it open. It's a deep facility. So in a way, we've got better logistics than a lot of other areas in the world because we're so close to that port. So we did a bit of a comparison to the James Bay area here. So on the left, you can see the James Bay area where there's a few lithium deposits that have been outlined, the Corvette, the James Bay Lithium, Rose, and Wabuchi. And you can see the geological boundaries there. You can see the lake bottom sediment samples. Then on the right, you can see the Nunavik area based on the same contouring for elements. And we have very good lithium anomalies. We have great geological boundaries in that same area. So we believe we picked the eyes out of this thing. We've got the best properties available in that area. And we'll move this summer and go in there and do geological mapping and sampling and potentially drill a couple holes with the RAB drill we will have down at Kigavik. Now moving on to our West Raglan project. This is perhaps one of the best nickel sulfide projects in Canada. The grades are very similar to what they have at the Raglan mine, which sits about 70 kilometers to the east of us. And the Nunavik nickel mine is a bit lower grade, but it sits about 70 kilometers east of us as well. We cover both stratigraphies, both the southern trend, which is where the Nunavik lithium mine, or the Nunavik nickel mine is, and the West Raglan nickel mine. So the northern trend is where the high-grade deposits that Raglan has are, and the southern trend is more where the Nunavik nickel mine is, and the lower grade trend. We cover both of those on the West Raglan project. Wyloo Metals has been earning into our project since January of 2021. They've now got to the 51% level, and they've made the option to go to 70, so they got to spend some more money. And if they can earn up to 80% by spending $25 million in over a 7-year period and completing a bankable feasibility study. So we're carried until then. We operate the project, we propose budgets to them and move forward. We're currently in that process with them. Great partners. It's been a pleasure working with those guys. So the two different models that we're looking at our West Raglan project. On the right, you see the Raglan model. It's very much pearls on a string, very, very high-grade deposits that are small, but there's many of them. And on the right is more of the lower-grade Canadian Royalties or Nunavik nickel mine, which is more of a 1-to-1 nickel to copper ratio versus the 3-to-1 at the Raglan mine. So we've discovered a number of zones at the project already, and we could easily sit here and drill Frontier and try to build a resource there, but we know we're going to need more than just the Frontier zone. But you can see some of the grades here, 3.2% nickel, 1.3% copper, with some platinum, palladium, and cobalt over 28 meters. The grades are spectacular, and it fits exactly the way the Raglan mine deposits look. Same kind of, if you took a piece of this ore and you showed it to someone from Raglan, they would think it was from their mine. So metallurgically, they are exactly the same. In 2021, we did a pile of squid EM to outline targets. And this past year, we drilled 9 of the highest priority targets. And you can see this is the map with the discoveries made in the past and some of the stars of the high priority targets from our squid EM survey. Squid EM is a method they use at Raglan to help increase their discovery rate, differentiates the sort of more formational conductors from the nickel sulfide conductors. And they've helped increase their discovery rate at Raglan by like 60% by using that methodology. So this year we drilled holes at Frontier. We extended the size of that zone. And we also drilled holes at a showing we had called Boomerang, and that's the highest grade nickel sulfide intercept we've had outside of the Frontier zone to date. And typically these nickel sulfides, that's only one hole into it. There's extensions to them, and there's pods that are nearby to be drilled. So there's lots of work to do in that area. And you can see down around the Big Potato showing there, which is in the southern trend, lots of high-grade showings all around it that need to be followed up. There's been no drilling down there whatsoever. The whole southern trend has not had drill holes. So we're quite excited to get back in here and do more work, and we're working on that proposal as we speak. We have great relationships with our local communities, both the First Nations in Nunavik and in the Abitibi, as well as the communities that we work out of. So just summing up the company very quickly, we have very strong shareholder support with Alamos Gold at 25%. These guys are backing us. We have exploration committee meetings with their exploration staff. They give us ideas, we give them ideas. We have a massive land position in 2 very unexplored belts with Kigavik and the Chatel region. Chatel hadn't seen any exploration since 1990. They closed the mine there in 1993. And until recently, when Maple Gold started exploring and we started exploring, there had been nothing. So this area was basically unexplored since the mid-'80s. And we're very excited to be back in there doing that work. We have large land tenure for lithium targets in the Nunavik region. We believe we've staked what are the best potential targets in that region. And we have a very strong financial and technical partner with Wyloo Metals on our nickel project. These guys are deep-pocketed and they're smart technically, and they are eager to find more nickel in the world. And of course, we're in Quebec, which is, from a financial point of view and a permitting point of view, and just a jurisdiction in general, is one of the best in the world. So 1,800 square kilometers of land, looking for 3 different metals, lots of optionality in the company.